Blessings, brothers and sisters around the world, and welcome to our new video, which is giving you some very, very brief tips on how to raise your frequency. So this is going to be a channeled video. I didn't prepare for this. I decided to just invite Spirit to speak through me. And I have here with me my favorite crystal allies, which is labradorite, which is definitely something I recommend, aura quartz, and this is called Peterson crystal. It was first located by the West, by outsiders in South Africa and Namibia area in modern times. So I want to start by talking about the first place where we want to address the opportunity to raise our frequency. And part of the reason that we are really being called to be present to our frequency is that the frequency of the earth is shifting rapidly. It's raising its vibration. And so for us, according to the laws of physics, to be able to remain on this earth as the earth ascends into her next dimension, we're being asked to raise our frequency. So the first thing we want to talk about is the physical body. Now, everyone has different nutritional needs. Everyone has different nutritional food allies that support them. And most of us are still learning to really treat food as medicine and not to use food as a way to self-medicate. So I want to encourage you first to make a list of the things that you consume on the physical level that could be lowering your frequency. And some of the things that could be lowering your frequency, this doesn't mean 100%, as I said, everyone's constitution is different. But certainly some of the top ones are going to be things such as meat, particularly red meat, things such as dairy, because of the fact that dairy is known to cause congestion in most humans. It's not going to encourage the free flow of energy in your body. Okay, so again, I'm not going to go into a lot of details because you can find information like that out there on YouTube and all over the web, great resources. But I just want to say, be present to what you put in your body, into your physical body, right? So if your body is your ancient temple, what are you putting into the ancient temple on the physical level? All right, so the second category is your relationship to substances. Now, this is a very guilt-free, shame-free zone, right? So first of all, if you have any type of addiction to substances, it's really important to come into a place of honoring and being grateful that you were able to use that substance when you needed to, right? And the truth is that as we shift frequencies, we actually no longer have a need for the same substances that we need to. So oftentimes it's simply a matter of recognizing, pardon me, I'm outside and we have mosquitoes and ants everywhere. Part of it is simply a matter of recognizing that you are ready to move into a new relationship with that substance, right? And again, every substance, every person is unique. And so one way that you can do that is simply by really sitting in meditation and asking for guidance from the plant, from the substance, how to come into right relationship with that substance, right? So whether that is alcohol, marijuana. Marijuana is not a drug. Marijuana is a plant. It's a plant medicine. Marijuana is a master teacher, a master healer. However, she cannot do the work that she's meant to do if we are overusing her. And when we overuse her, we come out of right relationship with her. So I have an online course that I'm going to be publishing soon on how to develop a sacred relationship with the spirit of marijuana. But in the meantime, that's something I also want to encourage you to do, is to write down your relationship to the substances in your life. And again, if you are a highly sensitive person, it's quite possible that alcohol is not something that you can actually have in your life. Also consider the fact that something like caffeine also has a spirit, right? It's, in a way, it's in between a substance and a food because of how strongly it affects, the energy body, right? So it has a tendency to, make our heart race. It has a tendency to kind of get us amped up, which gets us more in that energy of anxiety and kind of allowing ourselves to shift more into the mind and out of the heart. So again, this is not a declaration of anything being bad or negative, right? This is an invitation to come into right relationship with these substances. For example, I have not had any coffee for almost 3 months, and I love coffee. And I used to reserve coffee as something I could have now and then. I actually had coffee this morning, and it was actually very supportive for me. I really set my intentions around it before I had it, and I really engaged with it as a substance that I was calling it as medicine, because I hadn't had a cup of coffee in 3 months. And so I am working on coming into right relationship with substances such as coffee. Now, for me personally, as a highly sensitive being, as someone who holds space for a lot of people's healing, and as essentially a healing portal, I found that alcohol is not something that I can have, that I can be in right relationship with at all, because of the way it affects me as a healer. I'm too sensitive. Okay, so let's talk about the next level, right? Let's go into the emotional body. So part of what can lower our frequency in the emotional body are old patterns, such as what we might call the spirit of depression, right? Let's talk about depression. Depression is, on a shamanic level, an energy that has gotten stuck in you, right? Oftentimes these energies are not coming from us. So when it comes to healing the emotional body, we're really looking at the field of shadow work, right? We're looking at releasing old imprints and programs that you may have inherited from ancestral lineages, from your bloodline ancestors that are not yours to carry, okay? And so this work involves learning how to make an ancestral altar, how to lay down the burdens and the karma of your ancestors that you may have come to heal, but you can't actually heal them by carrying them, okay? So these are all things that you can learn more about through my work, and you can visit thetempleofthegoddess.org to learn more about that. And I also make different videos, especially on Instagram, that illuminate more of this information. Okay, so the next thing, let's move to the mental body, okay? Now, the mental body often decreases its frequency by feeding the mental loops, right? So let's say you have a goal and things are not going your way, right? Oftentimes, as soon as things don't go our way, we have a tendency to slip back into that scarcity, fear-based mindset, right? If things aren't going our way, the universe doesn't support us, it's never going to happen, there's something wrong with you, we start beating ourselves up, right? That's a very old program that comes out of the patriarchal framework, right? And it's really based on this whole program that you know, we are unworthy, and we clearly are not unworthy, right? We come here as light workers, as vessels of spirit, to really bring balance back to this earth, back to this planet. And so we are worthy, right? And so there's a lot of reprogramming that needs to happen in the mental body around these old stories. And again, we offer a lot of resources in the Temple of the Goddess to support this process. One of the things that I highly recommend when you're working with the mental body is working with Archangel Metatron. Okay, Metatron is one of the most powerful archangels that can help you to reprogram your thoughts, right? So part of what you want to do is really reclaim your own sovereignty over your thoughts, right? Where are your thoughts coming from? Are they coming from other people? Are they coming from programs that were installed in your generation and in your generational lineage? Where are they coming from? Right? So you want your thoughts to be coming from where you want them to be coming from, right? From a higher frequency, not from old programs and lower densities. Okay, so let's review. So number one, we have food as medicine, right? To really be conscious and be present of patterns we have around using food to numb and to self-medicate. Number two, we have our relationship with substances and plant medicine. Number three, we have the emotional body, really being present to shadow work, you know, inner child trauma, anything that is bringing lower vibrational energies that do not belong to us that we need to lay down. Number four, we're looking at the mental body, okay? So for number five, I want to go ahead and talk about the fact that part of the way that we reprogram the mental body is to interrupt the mental looping, right? So a mental loop is basically a narrative, a false narrative that continues to feed, right? And the thing about mental loops is that sometimes we have the ability to interrupt that loop by simply recognizing it, right? So, for example, developing a meditation practice where you start to be aware of the loops, and you can begin to interrupt them. And you can say, oh, I noticed that I just had a thought that doesn't make me feel good, right? So are you going to keep feeding that thought? Are you going you're never going to do it. You're never going to get out of this situation. Is that thought supporting you? No. So your goal is to, just like when you take a deep breath in, before you exhale, pause, right? Practice the pause. Practice as a thought comes, how are you responding to it? Are you latching onto it? Are you grabbing it? Because that thought is going to lower your frequency, right? It's going to affect the way that it's going to affect what you do next, right? It's going to affect how you feel. So it's really important to begin to be very, very conscious, to finally attune your presence and your consciousness to what thoughts you're feeding, okay? So that's number 5. So number 6, let's move to the spiritual body, the etheric body, of the energy body, which is about 6 to 8 feet out from you. Okay, so one of the things that I recommend all light workers, energy workers, healers, seers do, highly sensitive people, is to get into a daily practice of clearing your energy body. So especially if you're someone who works in the public, right? You work in a school or a government building or customer service of any kind, whether it's virtual or in person, is that before you enter your home, before let's say you finish your work day, all right? Before you move on to the next part of your day. And this can be challenging, right? Because oftentimes we're depleted, we're tired, but it's that same energy that's causing the depletion and the tiredness that we need to clear so that we don't bring that energy into the next part of the day, okay? So before you move into the next part of the day, clear your field. And I offer a lot of resources on learning how to clear your field. I personally work most closely with Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron. Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron are archangels that anyone can access simply through the power of intention, calling on their presence, asking them to clear your field. And I'm going to be offering a weekly group, depending on when you're viewing this video. I'll be offering a weekly group where we're going to be doing weekly clearings and learn how to work with the archangels to clear your field. Okay? Tip number 7. So before you enter into a public space, right, before you leave your home, before you start your day, I encourage you to, through the power of intention, through the power of prayer, to put a protection around yourself, right? If you're a highly sensitive being, you want to make sure that you are reinforcing your energetic boundaries, right? That your energetic boundaries are not porous, that any old energy can't just jump into your field, right? And the way that we do that is by imagining, visualizing, calling on the support of different angelic energetic forces to fortify our field. So you can imagine yourself placing obsidian, right? Or crystal quartz, or whatever you feel called to work with to fortify your field, and to make it clear that you're only calling in the presence of beings, entities, forces, energies, situations, people that are high frequency, that are high vibrational, and to be protected from any energies that are not in your highest and best good, right? Lower frequencies, lower vibrations, and they will still come, right? But the way that they interface with you depends a lot on your energetic boundaries, right? And how often and how well you fortify those, okay? And so in closing, and I wanted to make this a super short video, and we're already at 13 and a half minutes, but so in closing, what I want to say is that one of the most beautiful things that you can do is set your intention every morning to be in harmony and right relationship with all your relations, right? And this is a prayer coming out of many lineages, from ancient Egypt to many indigenous traditions around the world. And, we can imagine, we can use the power of intention to harmonize our energy with the universe. And that is something else that's going to raise your frequency, right? Peaceful relations raises our frequency. So that's free bonus tip number 8. So giving thanks to each of you for watching. Please consider sharing this video, this free content with someone. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find out more on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, we are Temple of the Goddess, and the website again is thetempleofthegoddess.org. Sending you many, many blessings. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you for being here for this journey of the Great Awakening, for coming to remember your ancient self, and bringing your spirit medicine online to benefit this beautiful journey that we have been called to be present for. Many blessings. Ashe.